In a world increasingly digitally connected, yet paradoxically rife with feelings of isolation, the human experience of feeling truly understood and less alone emerges as a profound longing. We often navigate the complexities of modern life carrying invisible burdens, silently battling anxieties, uncertainties, and moments of profound loneliness. The pressure to present a facade of success and stability can lead us to believe we are the only ones stumbling, the only ones feeling the crushing weight of doubt, or the only ones dealing with the heartaches that life inevitably imposes upon us. This distorted perception is fertile ground for loneliness to flourish, creating a vicious cycle where the fear of being judged or misunderstood prevents us from seeking the relief that human connection offers. This itinerary addresses precisely this existential crossroads, proposing an immersion in the intimate and personal narratives of individuals who, like so many others, have faced and documented their own journeys through the valley of perceived loneliness. The core of this guide is not to offer ready-made solutions or generic advice on how to overcome loneliness, as the individual experience is nuanced and unique to each person. Instead, the goal is to create a safe and empathetic space for exploring and sharing real stories, told by the protagonists themselves. Through reading and listening attentively to these experiences, we seek to highlight a common thread of shared humanity. The beauty of this project lies in its direct and unadorned approach, bringing to light the experiences of participants, ordinary people whose lives echo our own in many ways. The premise is simple yet profoundly powerful. By reading or hearing the words of someone who has been through something similar, who has felt the same overwhelming emotions, who has struggled with the same doubts, and who, in their own time and way, has found a way forward, we can be reminded that we are not alone in our struggles. The driving force is the unshakable belief that shared vulnerability is the most effective antidote to the poison of isolation. The fundamental purpose is to transform the often silent and internal experience of loneliness into an open and accessible dialogue. The stories presented here are not elaborate fiction, but rather authentic testimonies, fragments of lives that, when pieced together, paint a vivid and multifaceted picture of the human condition. Each account is an invitation for the reader or viewer to recognize within themselves echoes of their own struggles, discovering that feelings of inadequacy, the pain of loss, anxiety about the future, and the search for deeper meaning are not anomalies, but rather inherent components of the journey of many. This itinerary positions itself as a vehicle for this discovery, a portal that opens onto a universe of shared experiences, where reading these narratives serves as a balm, a gentle reminder that, even in the darkest moments, the existence of others who have walked similar paths can offer unexpected solace and tangible hope. The driving force behind this initiative is the conviction that accessing and validating these individual experiences can be a transformative step toward collective healing. Exploring these personal narratives reveals a fascinating pattern: how we validate our own experiences through the mirror of others' experiences. This isn't a quest for conformity, but rather a recognition that the emotions that plague us, the dilemmas we face, and the victories, however small, are part of a larger human mosaic. By immersing ourselves in stories that describe the apprehension before an important social event, the difficulty in expressing a feeling of sadness without being labeled as fragile, or the success of finding a new passion after a period of discouragement, we are invited to confront our own reservations. It becomes clear, then, that the act of writing or sharing these experiences is in itself an exercise in courage and self-discovery. Consider, for example, the story of someone detailing the paralyzing anxiety she felt at the thought of starting a new work project, a fear that caused her to procrastinate indefinitely. Reading this description may resonate deeply with a viewer who finds themselves in a similar situation, feeling immediate relief in realizing that this hesitation is not a reflection of their incompetence, but rather a shared human experience. A crucial aspect to be unraveled is the transformation that occurs in the individual when they decide to verbalize or record their most intimate feelings. This externalization, often fraught with uncertainty about reception, functions as a cathartic process. Consider how a river that finds its course can move more fluidly. Similarly, giving form to abstract and nebulous feelings through the written or spoken word can grant them unexpected clarity. This clarity is not always pleasant. It can reveal uncomfortable truths about oneself or circumstances. However, this confrontation with reality, facilitated by the act of sharing, is a vital step. It is like a doctor who, by diagnosing a disease, paves the way for treatment. Each shared story offers a unique perspective, not only on loneliness, but also on resilience, adaptation, and perseverance. Navigating these stories exposes us to a spectrum of coping strategies, some effective, others less so, but all genuine and valuable. We realize that there is no magic formula, but rather a continuous process of learning and adjustment. Furthermore, reading these narratives serves as a catalyst for empathy, not only with the storytellers themselves, but also with people in our immediate social circle who may be experiencing similar struggles, but don't express them openly. By familiarizing ourselves with the diverse manifestations of loneliness and the tortuous paths that lead to overcoming it, we develop a greater sensitivity to perceiving the signs in others. Imagine, for example, the subtle behavioral changes of a friend who has become more reclusive or displays a more sullen mood. Without the opportunity to read and reflect on the experiences of others, we might interpret these signs superficially, or even misinterpret them. However, after immersing ourselves in this universe of stories, we become more likely to recognize in these manifestations a possible silent cry for help, an echo of vulnerabilities we've already explored in other narratives. This deeper understanding equips us to offer support in a more meaningful and less invasive way. In this context, the democratization of the act of sharing and reading experiences stands out as a transformative element. The digital age, with its communication platforms, has inadvertently created a stage for this intimate exchange. Stories that might previously have remained confined to personal diaries or whispered confidences now circulate and resonate with previously unimaginable audiences. Consider the impact of a detailed account of the struggle to cope with grief after the loss of a loved one, posted on an online forum. This narrative, reaching someone going through a similar period of pain and isolation, can offer immediate relief by breaking the silence and sense of abnormality that often accompany such experiences. The exchange of comments, the testimonies of others who share similar feelings, and even simply knowing that you are not alone, can be a powerful balm for emotional wounds. This interconnection, mediated by words, strengthens the fabric of human experience and fosters a sense of belonging that transcends physical barriers. The variety of topics covered in the entry's stories, ranging from mental health challenges to questions of identity and interpersonal relationships, underscores the universality of the search for connection and understanding. Each account, with its uniqueness, contributes to a deeper collective understanding. Consider narratives that describe the hesitation to come out publicly for fear of rejection, or the feeling of displacement in familiar surroundings. By encountering these confessions, we are encouraged to reflect on our own barriers and fears. The way the authors describe the small steps they took to overcome these obstacles, such as striking up a conversation with a stranger or expressing genuine desire, offers a practical and inspiring roadmap. This raw, unvarnished authenticity is what makes this project invaluable, the ability to remind us of our shared humanity and the inherent strength that lies in open vulnerability. As we contemplate the journey traced through shared narratives, a complex tapestry of feelings and resistances begins to emerge, interconnecting individual experiences in a mutual recognition. The diverse confessions and reflections, when interwoven, form a panorama that transcends the mere compilation of isolated experiences, fostering a deeper understanding of the intricacies of human experience. The echo of individual struggles, once perceived as isolated singularities, now reveals itself as a multifaceted chorus of yearnings and overcoming challenges that resonate in surprising ways across different life trajectories. This convergence of perspectives invites us to take a closer look at the subtle forces that shape our perception of ourselves and our relationship with the outside world, highlighting the intrinsic power that emanates from revelation and active listening. Reflecting on this journey thus far, we realize how the barriers that isolate us, often erected by the apprehension of exposure, begin to give way as we recognize the familiarity of feelings previously considered uniquely ours. The hesitations to take the first step, the fears that paralyze action, and the search for external validation